going on, everybody? Sean Daniel from GuitarControl.com here. And you're probably thinking, oh great, another Johnny B Goode lesson. What's different about this? Well, we are going to learn the song, but on top of that, we're going to talk about some of the techniques that made Chuck Berry one of the blues players with the most personality of all time, just little things that he did. So make sure to click the link in the description to get the tabs. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to do the intro, we're going to do the shuffle, and a little bit of like the chorus riffs and licks and stuff like that too, right? So basically we're going to start off like this. Okay? One of the most recognizable intros in the history of rock blues music. And it all starts by getting that middle finger and sliding from 6 to 7 on the G string. Right? And it's a real quick burst slide. And these little bursts, these kind of micro slides, are really important to getting that kind of that signature sound, right? So we're anchoring the middle finger, and the middle finger's kind of taking the lead, and the other fingers are going to kind of gather around it, right? So just by getting your middle finger onto that note, your pointer finger and your ring finger are going to be in position on the B string. So we've got slide from 6 to 7 G, right there, just like that, okay? So 7, 6, 8. And now you might feel maybe like a desire to hammer on that second one, but part of his sound is really getting these downstroke picks, even these little bursts, right? So slide, and then we've got these kind of double stops, right? So after this little 3-note thing, we're going from a bar chord type deal where we're doing a blues double stop, barring the B and E string, and going from 5 to 6. And we're doing bursts of 3. This kind of 3-note thing is very important. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So we got slide. And that kind of lines us up right here. Alright? So this is going to get, if you think of like a 1 finger per fret deal, it's really important to use the right fingers on this one. After we slide into this last time, we got your pinky on the B string, ring, index, kind of going backwards through the scale. Up a string, and when you go to the G string, now we've got your pointer finger to your middle finger, and this is that blue note that we that gives it that sound, right? So we've got, and then from here we're going to jump. Now, a lot of people play this as just like a bar chord, like, but we're going to do it like this. So we're taking kind of like what we think of as like a B flat or A major bar chord, but we're just taking the 8th fret of the A and the D string, and we're heavily palm muting it to kind of get a lot of that energy. You're kind of going on like a dynamic ride. You start hard, and then bring it down and bring it back up, okay? So we're going to go through all of this again. And again, we're starting with your middle finger. The middle finger is really important because it's kind of like the root of everything. Into the slides. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, backwards through the scale, up a string, into this kind of couple right here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, so we're gonna jump from this kind of palm muted thing, and if you don't know what palm muting is, you just take the side, karate chop the bridge, and instead of playing like open, it's all right. So, and then we're gonna jump back into this spot, same spot where we started, but we're gonna do more of a double stop thing where we hit this note first. And then we're going to put your pointer finger on the 6th fret of the B string. And I'm going to kind of exaggerate just so you can kind of see where it is. The melody is going to be 7G, 6B, 8B. But after that first note, we're going to get them both. All right, now you want to be careful. You probably don't want to get the high E string involved here. It's a little too much going on, and he's like known for these real kind of like staccato type bursty things. So what I'm doing, I'm actually taking my finger and I'm kind of holding the E string when I don't want to hear it. That way I don't get a, right? And then after that, you just walk it back down through the scale, all on the G string. So double, stop, back, 7, 5, 3, open. All right? And then after that, we get into what I think is the most Chuck Berry thing of all time. But here, one more time, super slow on the intro. Now we're getting into the personality part, which is really kind of like a huge part of his playing. And it's going to sound like this. Right? And now this is kind of, to me, when I hear like a lot of people play it, this is the part that is all over the board, right? And I think what really gives him his style is this is like a pretty autobiographical song of his, growing up in like poor St. Louis and wanted to be like a blues player. And he wrote this in like the 50s. And there's like a lot of angst and like a young Chuck Berry. And he's kind of like identifying. There's so much personality in the way he goes. All he's doing is just two notes, and he's almost kind of bending one note to the same note. So just to kind of show you the notes, he's got this, the 8th fret of the G string that he's bending up, and kind of choking at the top, and then hitting the 6th fret of the B string, which this note right here is an F. And now if you were to bend the 8th fret of the G string all the way up, a whole step, that's being bent to an F. Right? But so if you think about it, he's just playing a bunch of Fs. But so much of this kind of like angst that he has are these little micro bends that aren't totally in tune. He's kind of getting it up, stopping it, and then hitting the next one. Right? And he's not getting a lot of unison. So it's really easy to kind of tell the difference between when you're getting a little too much of both strings. Like it might sound something like this. That's a little messy. He's kind of really clean with these like little micro bends. So he's going up, choking it, and I'm doing it with my picking hand. And I think what's really important is if you look at my wrist, I'm going to kind of try to exaggerate the circular motion that's going on. I'm getting this 8th fret on the G string up, and see if you see my wrist, I'm kind of circling up to get this. So this sounds bad because I'm trying to overdo it. Right, but that's kind of like the idea. It's like a circular motion type pattern thing. And we got 5 of those. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and he does that twice, okay? All right, and then after that, we've got what I think is one of the greatest like blues riffs ever that he kind of comes up with. All right, so let's break this down really slow. We were just coming from this. We're kind of faking it. We do the first part, the bend, then to the top. All right, so the high E string, 6, kind of go backwards through that scale. 9, 8, 6, 8, 6. So you kind of mirror that. And then again, so we're kind of doing a lot of repetition here. We go 9, 8, 6, 8, 6, 9, 8, 6. Now this one right here is kind of a cool thing. It's like a little bit of a rake thing. So after we do this, G string 6, 7. We're gonna kind of rake through this chord, which is really just like a B flat major chord, the bottom 3 strings. So you can kind of look at my fingers. I'm kind of walking through it a little bit, but my right hand, my pick is just kind of hitting one at a time, almost like a slow strum, not like a quick, almost like a slow rake. Followed up by your pinky on the B string. Right into 8, 6, 2 bends. All right, so again, from the rake, 9B, 8, 6, 2 bends, just kind of like we did before. So bend up on 8, 6, up, 6, 8, 6, 7. So 2 bends, B, B, 8, 6, 7, and then you kind of end, you resolve on the 1, right? So when I say the 1, if we're doing this in the key of B flat is the 1, right? Which is going to bring us into the boogie, the shuffle part of it. This is a really basic 12-bar blues thing, but kind of with some of Chuck Berry's signature energy, right? And again, this is like a song about like a teenage guitar prodigy who's just bursting with energy. So this part kind of mimics that. It's almost, Chuck Berry is like a very storytelling player, right? So all it is super simple. It's a power chord, so 6E, and then your ring finger on 8A, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use your pinky to extend 2 frets on the A string. Very common blues thing. But we're gonna do it more as a burst thing. Okay? And that energy, the dynamic is what really makes it. So we're gonna have 12-bar blues, we have 3 root notes. Here, here, and here. The 1, 4, and 5 for the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 4 bars of 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. So if we have 4 bars, right, and each bar is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to do that 4 times. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Down a string, do the same thing. So I'm rooting on the A string. Then back up to the 1 for 2 more bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to go 1 bar of the 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 bar of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 2 more bars of 1 to finish the 12-bar sequence. 1 and 2 and 3. And then again, right, starts. So the dynamic is really important, right? We're kind of, and this is palm muted again. Again, just got my palm on the bridge. If you do it just clean, like sustained, it's going to sound too muddy with the lead thing on there. Now, if you're just doing it by yourself, you can sustain it, whatever. But usually this is kind of palm muted a little bit. And again, that Chuck Berry burst, that kind of energy, that personality that he's adding to it, he's kind of inflecting dynamically certain notes, like the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And you can see I'm kind of easing off the palm mute to kind of get a little more volume, a little more sustain. So really, that's kind of, you can do that to taste, depending on like if you're playing with a band, if you're playing it solo. And I think that's kind of like a really important distinction to make, especially when it comes to the chorus, that part right there. Now, there's a lot of space, and this is kind of common in like a lot of different blues songs. If you're in the context of a band, there might be space while they're kind of like a call and response thing to the lyrics, like, go, Johnny, go, go, right? So we're kind of doing that, but if you're playing it solo guitar and you're not singing along with it, you might want to do something there. So basically, first of all, we're just going to talk about how to play this chorus lick thing. Okay, all I'm doing is I'm sliding like a double stop, middle finger to 10, G, pointer finger to 9B. And I'm sliding 1, 2, 3, 4 times. On the 5th time, I'm bringing that ring finger down to double stop on the 11th fret of the B string. Just kind of like we did at the beginning, but we're just going to do it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there'd be the lyric. But if you don't want to sing along with it or whatever, I think a great thing to do, this isn't on the tab, but this is something you can incorporate in anything else, is to add the melody or harmonize the melody of what's singing within the piece. So something like this. So I'm kind of adding the go, Johnny, go, go, right there. And that's just on the G string. 10, 8, 7, 10, 10, back into the chords, 10. And then the Johnny B Goode part would be like 8G to 7G up a string. So this is a great way to kind of like incorporate some of the scales and like licks and stuff like that, and to kind of match them melodically with maybe the vocals that are going on, just to kind of keep something going on guitar busy-wise. Now, if you are playing with the singer, you might not want to do that because you could be stepping on what they're trying to do. But it's always good to have options so you're not sitting around like, and then you're just kind of waiting for the next. That's almost kind of too much space, I think, if you're playing just like a solo guitar thing. So always be wary that no matter where you are, somewhere around where your position is, the melody or like a harmony of the melody exists. It's a great trick for your ears to try to kind of find something like that. So when it comes to the solo, a lot of it is just pentatonic stuff, and you just want to be in the position of B flat, right? And you can use like a minor pentatonic thing if you want. But basically what he's doing a lot is doing the same thing in the intro, but just kind of altering it a little bit. Kind of like a, which is just the same thing at the intro. And then just kind of like a little pentatonic backwards thing. So really just kind of experiment with that until you kind of find the sound you're looking for. So anyways, definitely subscribe to the channel. Click on the link to get the tab to kind of see it. But also to challenge yourself to try to see how far you can get without the tab. And really, before you know it, think about the techniques that Chuck Berry uses to try to get it to sound like it. Because a lot of times that's really overlooked. Like if you're like reading off a tab or something and learning a song, you just kind of play the notes and you learn how to play the notes. But that's really only like half the battle. To really kind of understand different players' tendencies and to kind of get a certain sound, you want to be thoughtful about not just playing the notes, but how you're playing the notes and the different techniques and how your wrist is positioned in. If you're in downstrokes or slides or upstrokes, all that stuff ends up adding up and makes a big difference. So definitely if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.